To a special, and to just say hello and welcome to another episode of Bored at the Right Time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bored at the Right Time.
The next question I want to ask you is, what is your favorite part and least favorite part of this film?
As much as I'm going to shit talk Peter Jackson, which I respect him as a filmmaker, I do love a lot of his films. Not The Hobbit. The restoration of this and the audio quality and film quality of this cannot be overstated. It looks and sounds amazing.
If you didn't know that this was recorded in the 60s, 69,
yeah,
and like they just look trippy, I think you would think it was recorded yesterday. See what I did there?
Yeah, it's like, it really is mind-blowing.
There's not like an ounce of dirt anywhere.
No.
For so long, we've had such crappy, inferior quality of the film Let It Be. So it was originally, released on Laserdisc and VHS back in the day.
But it's been out of print since, right?
And it's been out of print for 30 years. And it never looked good. So I always thought the film looked as bad as it was. And then when I see the years and years of, dirt and I see clarity on it, I was kind of blown away with that. I'm gonna say this now, and I'm either gonna be really right or really wrong. I feel like we're going to get a physical release of this with a restored version of Let It Be, the original film. Because now I feel like Paul McCartney has corrected history, so now he doesn't care what comes out. But for the longest time, I'm pretty sure that was what used to irk him, the fact that everyone would be like, oh, it's the film that broke up the Beatles, and that's just wasn't the case.
This thing didn't come out for a long time, this album. They don't get into any of the afterwards. Phil Spector.
I think that's the reason they changed the name, too, because they didn't want it to be kind of a film about an album. It's more about the process. So I think that's why they might have changed the name to Get Back. There's a memo from Paul McCartney to Phil Spector, I think, and it's basically saying, I listened to it, and these are my issues with it. He lists 1, 2, 3. He's like, the harp needs to be reduced by half. Take the voices off, and then like the last one is, don't ever do this again, or something like that. It's kind of ridiculous, but yeah, Paul McCartney was a little irked. Even though the Beatles were creating, they were like the best band in the 60s, they were still EMI and, whatever's cash cow, like they needed product. So they're not going to let, a product sit on a shelf if they could be making money. So that's kind of how and when they kind of like, okay, well, they're not going to do it. We're going to do it. So Austin, that brings me to another question. What is your next step in your Beatles journey? Where do you think you're going to go from here?
I'm going to immediately listen to Abbey Road.
Okay.
Because this definitely gave me a lot of new insight on that album. I do love that album, but the second side of that album, I never really, like you explained it to me, but I think overall, that album's going to change a lot for me. The problem is this documentary exhausted me on a lot of these songs.
Yeah, and you can't watch it. You can't watch it all at once. You have to literally watch. It took me 3 different viewings to get through one episode. I couldn't watch it all at once because I was just like, it's just so much going on. And on top of it, it helps to watch it with the captions, even though people hate the captions.
Yeah.
You can kind of understand what's going on a little easier.
I watched it in 3 sittings, and unfortunately, I don't really want to listen to that album right now because it just, like, I've heard certain songs so many times, and it's probably like, like they did when you're making an album, you're like, okay, I'm kind of done with that song for a bit. So I think in a little while, I'll go back to that album, and it'll be cool to hear it.
Well, plus I think you're so used to hearing like the shitty version that's available.
Oh, yeah.
I own the Mobile Fidelity box set. In my opinion, that is the best, hands down, versions of those records. But even Let It Be sounds a little muddy. The only kind of thing that Giles does really well is he adds that I want to say crispness to it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like punch.
Yeah.
But I don't have the vinyl of the new Let It Be. I only have listened to it on streaming services and stuff. I think it sounds better than obviously the Phil Spector one. But Let It Be Naked, which I don't own a copy of that because it's very expensive, but I do listen to it a lot on streaming services.
I have two, but I can't give you one. I'm sorry. They're too expensive.
I completely understand. But I do listen to, that's the one I usually listen to when I listen to this album is I will stream Let It Be Naked. So that's kind of the one I'm more used to, but I'm interested, and I did check out the new mix a few times while watching this documentary, but I'm interested like in a month to go back and listen to it. But like probably today I'll go listen to Abbey Road. It does make me want to get into the making of all the other albums. And probably rewatch the Anthology because I haven't watched that since I probably watched it with you way back.
Yeah, it's actually a good view. It goes quick. In fact, I think it goes a little too quick. So I'm kind of glad that over the years they've made extra films. So like you get the film about the first U.S. visit. So you get that kind of chunk where you just see what it was like to come to New York. Then you get the touring years. So it talks about the chaoticness of the touring years. So like 63 to 66, basically. So you get like a deep dive on that. You get the films, so Hard Day's Night, Help, Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine. So you get like all these special features. It just helps you dig deeper into each area. But for the most part, there's a lot of good stuff out there that's even better than the Anthology because, again, I think they really need to go back and edit it or something because, there's so much on the cutting room floor. Rooftop Concert, I think it's pretty well known that this happened, but now you kind of know the backstory, how it happened, and you kind of see the full thing, not just shitty clips on YouTube. You kind of see the full, thing. They needed to do Get Back 6 times and Don't Let Me Down 3 times, and, whatever. So what are your thoughts about the Rooftop Concert?
I thought it was like they had recorded, you got this like really, concise album in the can, and then they went and performed it. That's what I thought before watching any of this. I didn't know that like they didn't even know what the hell they were going to do, even right up going to do it. They didn't know. I didn't realize they didn't have that many songs performed up there. I thought it was the whole album performed up there for some. I don't know where I got that from, but in my mind, I always assumed it was like most of the album performed up there. I didn't know they repeated numbers. I had thought it was fully planned, like they got permits and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know it was just like, let's, get up there and, not ask
Play till
people
the cops
to go.
shut us down. So Ringo really wanted the film to end with him being pulled off the drums, like being
Really?
brought to jail. Like he thought that, and he wore that friggin' red raincoat and
Yeah. What's her name? Debbie, the secretary, whatever her name was, down in the Apple. She deserves more credit because she was just, when the cops come in, they're like, oh, she's like, I don't know. Just like, spinning these guys in circles so they stay down there. And finally they go up there and they're like, they're just, bullshitting in the corner. What I thought was amazing, that like the day before, it was still chaotic. There were still pieces of songs all over the place. They get up there, they go into the songs, and they're locked in.
laser precision focused. The funny thing is I think, I forget what song it was, maybe Dig a Pony or something, but John Lennon needed the words. So they're like, Kevin goes over the little PA or whatever, and he's holding the words. Which
is hilarious because if you look, Ringo has a music stand next to his drum set. And I thought that was hilarious that Ringo wasn't like, hey guys, I got this. Maybe he didn't know it was there, but I saw that in the corner and I was like, they had a music stand. No one knew, like they didn't know. You know what? One of the things I hope during the director's cut or whatever we get, maybe we just get the full concert from start to finish. That's what I thought. Like, that was my other impression. You're going to show all this other stuff just like uncut. You're going to show all this stuff. And then the concert. The money shot. Yep. The money shot. The thing that people actually want to see is fragmented. Yeah, that's the thing. The only thing that is you feel like is going to be solid and like have some foundation to it. And then that's still the only thing I could think of that might
have been the reason for that, because that happens in the film as well. The Let It Be film,
Oh, okay.
the original one, is that maybe all the cameras ran out of film at the same time. You know, like, and they didn't have footage. So you got to think about this, Austin, is a movie camera film only holds 10 to 11 minutes.
They were shooting at 16?
I think it was 16, but he had extra cameras going. I think he had 7 cameras up on the rooftop. But still, you have to think about that. After 10 and a half minutes, you have to either replace the camera or reload it. Film was a nightmare. We take it for granted these days that we can just, back to one.
We're doing this right now. No one's,
Anything else you want to talk about before we cut?
I don't think so. That's it.
So I'd like to thank my special guest today, Austin Joy, who's a self-proclaimed new Beatles fan. So I want to thank you for joining. I look forward to maybe being a guest on your channel one day.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me talk about this. Not being like, I'm a Beatles fan. I love a lot of their albums. I just didn't know a lot of the details surrounding their history, a lot of albums, especially this one. So it was cool to watch this documentary. It's cool to talk to you about it and learn. I learned a ton. I probably got a lot of stuff wrong, but I learned a lot in the process. So it was awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
As always, please like, subscribe, and comment. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe down here. Till next time, thanks for watching. Got to get back in focus. Back in focus.
Chris, get back.
Get back.
Get back. And just let it be.
Let it be. Let it be. We're gonna get back to where we once belonged.